Last night, the struggling A's offense got a boost from their lineup when they desperately needed it. After leaving plenty of men on base throughout the night, Josh Donaldson got a clutch hit to tie the game in the 6th. And then Derek Norris came through with a 2-out bases-loaded single up the middle as the Athletics walked off Game 1 in the 10th inning versus the Rays. Tonight, the green and gold will look to Jason Hamill to get back on track. The newly acquired veteran has not pitched up to his potential, and he will be leaned on as this pennant chase enters its final stages. Game 2, A's-Rays, next. Tuesday night baseball from the O.K Coliseum. We actually had just a little bit of rain moments ago. We don't see that very often this time of year. But we're set for Game 2 of the series. It's Drew Smyly, the left-hander for the Rays, and he will be opposed by Jason Hamill, the big right-hander for the Athletics. A's won last night. They'll try to make it 2 in a row tonight. A's-Rays coming up on Comcast Sportsnet, California. Good evening, everybody. Welcome to Oakland A's baseball. Along with Shooty Babbitt, I'm Glenn Kuiper. When the A's acquired Jason Hamill from the Cubs, his ERA was 2.98. Shooty, his 4 starts with the A's have not been good. So what was he doing with the Cubs that he's not doing with the Athletics?
Well, Glenn, for me, I think the biggest part here is that he was pitching in a confinement that wasn't very pressurized. I mean, pitching for the Chicago Cubs, there were not a lot of things that were expected out of him. He was able to get into a groove. He wakes up one day and he finds himself right in the middle of a pennant race, and he just has not been able to harness his emotions. He has great stuff. He just hasn't been able to channel it.
Well, last night the A's got their 11th extra inning win of the year, which is the second most in the American League. And Shooty, to win extra inning games, it usually means the bullpen has to be good, and the A's bullpen has been great lately.
Yeah, and there are a lot of defined roles down there. When you have guys throwing 95 to 96, and all they have to do is come in and pitch 1 inning, these guys are strong every night that they come out. You've got a starting staff now that goes deep in the game, so the middle relievers are not used that much. So you have a bunch of back-end guys that are pitching in the 7th and 8th inning that can close for a lot of ball clubs. Sean Doolittle is one himself that was once a guy that pitched in the 7th inning.
All right, so the A's will face Drew Smyly tonight. Smyly was one of the players that the Rays got back for David Price, so Smyly making his first start as a member of the Tampa Bay Rays. So Hamill and Smyly is your pitching matchup tonight. When we come back, we'll have lineups and first pitch from the Coliseum.
Comcast Sportsnet California is brought to you by Jack in the Box. Head to Jack in the Box for the new Jalapeno Ranch or Barbecue Ultimate Cheeseburgers at participating restaurants. And by Toyota, #1 in MPG, durability, and resale value. Toyota, let's go places.
Hey, kind of a chilly night at the ballpark as we had just a little bit of rain, light rain for just a little while, about an hour ago, but that has passed. But it is a little bit of a chilly evening. Game time weather presented by the Santa Cruz Beach Boardwalk. Get to the beach. The admission-free boardwalk is now open daily. First pitch temperature is 65 degrees and pretty breezy. Some darker clouds overhead. So that is our weather for tonight here at the O.co Coliseum. Game 2 of the series between the Oakland A's and the Tampa Bay Rays. Heck of a ball game last night. Went into extra innings. The A's won it by a final score of 3-2. Let's look at the lineup for the Rays tonight. Desmond Jennings in center, Zobrist at left, Joyce the DH, Longoria at third. Then it's Loney at first, Escobar at short, Figueroa at second, Sally the catcher, and Kiermaier is the right fielder.
On the hill tonight for the A's, Jason Hamill. A lot of people feel that he's fighting for his rotation life tonight. Hasn't been successful, hadn't got a victory. What a great time to get it tonight because the A's want to take 2 games of this 3-game series.
The A's will line up defensively behind Jason Hamill. It will look like this. Gomes in left, Fold in center, Reddick in right. And it's Donaldson, Sogard, Callaspo, and Fryman on the infield. And Derek Norris is your catcher. And we should note that Coco Crisp is in the lineup, and he's going to be the designated hitter. And that's good news. And there's a pretty good chance that he could be out in center field tomorrow. So that's the good news. The bad news is Jed Lowry is out of the lineup, and this play right here, he hurt his finger just a little bit. He was able to finish the game, but as it turns out, Shooty, he's got a bruised right index finger. It's on his throwing hand, so he's going to miss tonight. It's not serious, but that was the play that had happened. Looks like the ball maybe got a little tip of that index finger, so he's going to sit out tonight. So Sogard gets the start at shortstop. So Jason Hamill is ready, making his 5th start with the Athletics. He will face Jennings, Zobrist, and Joyce here in the top of the 1st inning. First pitch is a fastball in for a strike.
First pitch, 7-0.
Jennings hitting .240 with 9 home runs and 30 RBIs. A couple of hits last night, one of them an RBI single. So we'll get a close eye on Jason Hamill. Breaking ball, and that's a good one.
Take a look at Hamill getting this get-over breaking ball in over for a strike. I think it's going to be key for him during the duration of his start tonight.
That one hit very high in the air. Gomes going back. And Johnny Gomes has it. So that is out number 1. So slider struggles with the A's, and that's a big pitch for Jason Hamill, but the numbers with the A's are in green. Everything's up and everything's way up except strike percentage, which chase percentage is way down. So a big pitch for him, and he just has not had very good location with it. So we'll see what happens tonight.
One thing, the numbers tell the true story, and in order for your secondary stuff to work, most of the time it's a swing and miss pitch or a chase pitch, but you definitely have to establish that fastball early on, even in order to have any type of chance to be able to use secondary stuff. Jason Hamill's a tall guy who needs to continue to be able to throw the ball downhill and get it down in the zone. And that's going to be key for him being able to break out his breaking ball.
There's a fastball for a strike to Zobrist. Zobrist hitting .276, 9 home runs, 32 runs batted in. There's a breaking ball for a strike. Zobrist said that's high.
If you look at Hamill, what's so important, he's a tall guy, so he has to really work hard to get on top of his breaking ball. But when he does, it's a pretty good one.
There it was again, and it's bounced toward Callaspo. Flips to first, and that's 2 outs. So Hamill would love to have a 3-up, 3-down inning. He gets the first 2 guys, and now he'll face the designated hitter, Matt Joyce.
Number 20, Matt Joyce.
Matt Joyce, also the DH last night. He went 0 for 5. Mentioned last night the Rays still playing without Will Myers, rookie of the year last year, and David DeJesus, a couple of important bats in that lineup. They will get him back at some point. They're just not quite sure when. That's what you hope, Shooty, is it's not too late when you do get him back.
They just, as far as the A's are concerned, they just hope they get healthy after they leave here.
That's right. Quinn Wolcott is calling balls and strikes tonight. Curveball, good one, 1 and 2. Good downward movement from Jason Hamill.
If you look where the location of this pitch is, that's what it's going to take for Jason Hamill to be successful tonight, getting hitters to freeze and lock up with their knees.
Comes back with a fastball that Joyce fouls back. Another 1-2 pitch. Fastball inside. Curve hit up the middle, but right there is Sogard. Side retired. So it is a 3-up, 3-down inning, and we're headed to the bottom of the first. No score. Top of the first inning, and here come the Athletics in the bottom of the first. Coco Crisp is going to lead off. He'll be the designated hitter. Sam Fold in center. Donaldson at third. Gomes in left. So Gomes in the cleanup spot. Then Norris, Fryman, Reddick, Callaspo, and Sogard.
Well, towing the rubber for the Rays tonight will be Jay will be Drew Smyly. The A's have been getting a steady diet of power right-handers with good changeups. The script will be flipped tonight. Drew Smyly, a true crafty lefty with a pretty good fastball, 3 solid pitches, and if he's in control, it could be a very interesting night tonight.
And his first start as a member of the Rays, part of the big David Price trade. So the Rays have high hopes for Drew Smyly, the youngster, 25 years old. A shift for Coco Crisp. They're shifting for everybody now, shooting. In fact, I don't even need to say it anymore. You just plan on there being a shift somewhere.
It's amazing.
Defensively for the Rays, Zobrist in left, Jennings in center, Kiermaier in right, Longoria, Escobar, Figueroa, Loney, with Casali doing the catching. So 1 away for Sam Fuld. Straight up for Sam Fuld. It's almost like being a football announcer and you got to say down and distance every time, right?
Well, you make a great point, because at one time it seemed like only power hitters were the ones that generated the shift, because they were true pull hitters. So it was pretty easy to strategically place your defense. But now, like you said, first down, shift on the right side. I mean, it's amazing. But I think what's going to happen, you and I are going to have lunch so we can continue our discussion about how we're going to go about beating the shift.
A mental meeting. 1-2 to Sam Fuld, with Donaldson waiting in the on-deck circle. Big curve roll foul. Fuld hitting .262, couple of home runs, 21 runs batted in. Big night last night. Fastball, strike 3 called on the inside corner.
Time now for our Nissan keys to the game. I think it's going to be very important that the A's disrupt Smyly's rhythm. He's a guy who has 3 pitches that he can command, but one thing that he struggles with at times is his release point. He's somewhat robotic on the hill, and when he's not perfect, that's when he struggles. The A's stranded 18 runners on base last night. We talked about creating traffic, but not a traffic jam. They got to get hits with runners in scoring position tonight.
They were 2 for 13 last night. The 2 they did get were big ones. Donaldson's tied it. Norris has won it. 2 for 13 is not gonna last every night. 1-1 to Donaldson, 243 with 23 home runs, 78 RBIs. And a home run against Smyly in his career. And that pitch in the dirt. But Donaldson goes after it. Last night the A's had 20 base runners. Previous 3 games, 22 total base runners. So it was traffic all over the place. A's ended up winning it 3-2. Setting up inside. The fastball is high. Johnny Gomes would be next. Brandon Moss getting the night off, so no Moss, no Lowry, no Vogt, no Jaso.
What it does, though, Glenn, is show you the flexibility that Bob Melvin has with his roster. I mean, you've got guys in the lineup that probably feel that they deserve an opportunity to get in there and help this club win, and you like your chances with the guys that are in there.
Smyly kicks in the 3-2 pitch. Foul back. Fastball at 91 miles an hour. Another 3-2. And it's lined toward left center field. Nobody's going to get it. One hops the wall. And Donaldson will have a 2-out double, his 18th double of the year.
I talked about Smiley's somewhat robotic delivery, and what that does is makes him keep the ball up in the zone a lot, and he struggles to get it down because he pitches so much on a firm side. Josh Donaldson, who is a great fastball hitter and has no problem getting on top of fastballs with that high leg kick of his. When his rhythm and timing is on point, he makes as hard a contact as any right-hand hitter in the game.
Exmo brought to you by Cache Creek Casino Resort. So the A's with a scoring opportunity. All right, Shooty. First opportunity with runners in scoring position. It belongs to Johnny Gomes.
Well, this is the guy that you want in this position. This is what he was brought here for, to thrive in crucial situations, even though it's early in the game.
First pitch to Gomes is a curveball that's low. 239 overall for Gomes. 6 home runs, 34 RBIs. That breaking ball in for a strike.
You know, Glenn, what has always made Johnny Gomes such a good hitter in clutch situations here. 1-0 count, you're looking for something you can drive, which was somewhat like a cutter there that looked like a fastball. Johnny Gomes is able to lay off of a pitcher's pitch and work until he gets something that he can handle.
Fastball, strike on the outside corner. I'm not sure Gomes liked either of the strike calls in this at bat.
You talk about discipline here. I mean, this is another pitcher's pitch here. I mean, all you're going to do is hit a weak fly ball to right field or perhaps a weak ground ball to the right side. So Johnny Gomes is in a battle here with a pretty good crafty pitcher here on the mound.
And that one scoots away from Casali, and Donaldson will go to third.
Again, one thing you want to pay a little close attention to as this game goes on when you watch Drew Smiley, he has a tendency to slow up his arm a little bit when he throws his curveball, and I think it's because it's so much of a deliberate action that he's trying to make sure that he finishes this pitch off. A lot of times that he overthrows it and it short hops the plate, so that'll be something to pay a close attention to as far as how hitters try to pick him up.
So Johnny Gomes way up in front of the box, and you don't see that very often with hitters being up ahead of home plate and almost to the front line of the batter's box. Usually guys are way in the back.
That reminds you when we were kids and they always told you to get up in front of the batter's box so you can catch that curveball before it breaks.
And that may be what he's thinking. He's up there again. Curve is line foul. Some hitters don't do it. They'll sit in the same spot every time, which is understandable. Other guys may move around a little bit.
Well, Johnny Gomes is a professional. Being with Boston, he's seen Drew Smiley a few times, and he understands the action on his pitch. And if he sits back in the batter's box, it's to Smiley's favor because that ball is finished by the time that it gets to Johnny Gomes, opposed to starting his break right in the front. And you want to catch a curveball, if you're going to be a good breaking ball hitter, you've got to catch it in the middle of the action, not at the end of it.
So 3-2, runner at third. Swing, he gonna miss. He went with a fastball, and Gomes strikes out, and the A's strand Donaldson at third. No score after one.
The swinging
Redwood. Learn more at realstrongredwood.com. No score, second inning from the O.co Coliseum. A's and the Rays. And Evan Longoria is going to lead things off. He'll be followed by Loney and Escobar. Curveball for strike. So the curveball looks like it's pretty sharp in the early going for Jason Hamill. Throws it again, and that one's in there.
Well, he's throwing that pitch with a lot of confidence, Glenn. And one thing that you can see is that he's staying with it. Head on the ball the whole way.
.62% fastballs, likes the slider, likes the curve. So 33% of his pitches either curve or slider, and that one was close. Went with a fastball there.
Well, one thing they're trying to find out what type of zone that they're going to have tonight.
And a curveball, and it's fouled at the plate, just barely by Longoria.
Last night, C.B. Buckner's zone was a little high. Once again, here's that chase-type curveball.
Another curve drops right in there, strike three call. That's a good-looking pitch right there from Jason Hamill.
One thing that Jason Hamill has shown to be able to do is throw his breaking ball for two different speeds as well as in two different zones. Most of the time when you get a freeze from a hitter, it's because the pitch starts out in the eyes and it ends up breaking right down across the belt. Pretty good hitter couldn't pull the trigger.
So one away. Here's James Loney. And in the outside corner with a fastball. 290 with 5 home runs, 51 runs batted in for Loney. A couple of hits last night. Shoots one to left. Gomes is right there. 2 outs. So to bring up Yunel Escobar.
Batting in the sixth position, shortstop, number 11, Yunel Escobar.
So Escobar was hitless last night. 255 with 4 home runs and 26 RBIs. Curve for a strike. He's got a good feel for that pitch, you can tell.
Glenn, you took the words right out of my mouth. Feel is so key.
And he threw another one, and maybe Escobar was looking for that one as he lines it to center. So the Rays have their first hit.
Oh, that's just typical of a bad pitch. He's been breaking them off pretty good, but this one just spins up in the zone. And Escobar has always been a real good hitter. One of the few shortstops in the game that just have a total all-around package. A lot of people feel that this young man is underachieved because he has a total package to be an all-star type player.
Here's Cole Figueroa playing second base tonight. 29 at-bats on the year for Figueroa. This pitch is a strike. Figueroa has got 5 hits on the year, 5 for 29, one of them a double. Was called up from the minor leagues on the 24th of June. Last night it was Logan Forsythe playing second base for the Rays. bounced into right field, the base hit. Escobar is going to try for third. Reddick comes up throwing, and the throw is off the glove of Donaldson. It rolls away. Escobar safe at third, and Figueroa goes to second. No, he did not. He stayed at first, excuse me. So first and third. So Reddick had a chance for Escobar.
Well, what Reddick does such a great job of, we see the highlight throws and the catches, but you notice that he hits a cutoff man right in the chest, and when normally that ball goes through to the bag, that runner advances to the bag in front of him, but because Sogard was able to freeze the runner by deking him, making him feel like there was a play at second base, he didn't go. Josh Donaldson does everything he possibly can to keep that ball from going into the bullpen because that throw was a little offline.
Casali, the catcher. Nice block by Norris. Looked like that ball. I wonder, did this ball hit the lip of the grass?
Well, you have to remember also, Glenn, there was a little rain early today, and you can tell that that ball had a little extra giddy up on it once it hit the ground, and it kind of skipped to the right there, and that's one thing that you have to be careful of. But Josh almost made a tremendous play. Escobar's foot just knocked the ball out of his glove.
Yeah, it looked like the ball was pretty on line, and then it kind of shot to the right a little bit. 2-0 to the catcher Casali, who's 2 for 18 on the year. So a 2-out rally for the Rays. Rays last night were 1 for 10 with runners in scoring position.
Well, I guarantee you at the end of the year, once you look at those numbers, because of the starting staff that they've been able to put together here, those numbers as far as hitting with runners in scoring position against the A's will end up being very pedestrian.
That one hit high and foul right side. So 2-1.
Glenn, you spoke of the feel that Hamill has on his breaking ball. And a lot of times when you see a pitcher on the mound, just his disposition will allow you to know how he feels out there. You can tell there's a lot more confidence in what Jason Hamill is doing on the mound tonight.
Curve, and it's outside. So now it's 3-1. That curve had a little more of a slurve action to it, not quite as much of a downward movement.
Well, when you throw both of them, that's the problem that pitchers have. They get in between. It's already hard throwing a curveball. When you throw a slider as well, a lot of times it's tough to separate the two pitches.
3-1, here it is, and it's rolled foul. So full count. The runner at first, Figueroa, will take off. And there he goes, and a breaking ball is down and away, and it's a walk. So the bases are loaded for Kiermaier.
Batting the ninth position, right fielder, number 39, Kevin Kiermaier.
So Kiermaier will hit, left-handed hitter, .293 with 8 home runs, 25 RBIs. Had a big triple last night. And the curve bends inside. It missed by much. Escobar, Figueroa, Casali are your runners. Swing and a miss. High fastball. Kiermaier could not catch up. Good numbers early part of the career for Kevin Kiermaier. Taps this one slowly. Callaspo has it. Flips to first side. Retired. Rays leave him loaded. Bottom of the second coming up. No score. Pitch. Derek Norris bounced it right up the middle. Sanford scores, and the A's won it 3-2 in 10 innings. So another walk-off win. Grant Balfour was not happy. I wonder if he was unhappy with the positioning of his shortstop. I don't know. So that was the 8th walk-off win of the year for the Athletics. And that's the list right there. It all started with Coco Crisp back on April 3rd. Coco's got a couple of them on there. Donaldson with a couple of them. Donaldson a couple of walk-off home runs. So 8 walk-offs this year. Like to see more. Here's Norris leading it off. Curve in for a strike.
When you play as many extra inning games that the A's do, it's a good chance, as well as they play, there's going to be a lot of walk-offs.
Well, they get the opportunity to have walk-offs. The bullpen keeps it close. Norris, Fryman, and Reddick here in the second inning. Right past Mike Gallego.
Glenn, watching the way that Jason Hamill has performed thus far, you have to be very excited as a staff. For him to get in a little trouble over there could be a defining moment in his night. And for him to get out of that jam, that could bode very big for him.
1-2 pitch, and it's up and away. So 2-2. First start for Smiley in the Rays uniform. We'll see if they got it together.
Well, when you have two guys who haven't spent a lot of time together, it's best to make sure that you're on the same page instead of just throwing a pitch up there that you're going to regret.
2-2 pitch is low, and now a full count. Seven pitches already for Smiley. And that's lined into the glove of Figueroa, and he scooped it, throws to first, and that's out number one.
MLB TV Premium, the #1 live streaming sports service, is now available. Join the millions of subscribers. Watch every out-of-market game live in true HD on over 400 devices. Visit athletics.com for more details.
So one out for Nate Fryman. Fryman getting the start at first base tonight. Curve drops in for a strike.
When you watch Smiley and his catcher have a few problems as far as communication, just shows how impressive the relationship between Norris and Lester was in just their very first start together. He did not shake him off, not one time the entire game.
And in this case, it's Casali, a young catcher, against a guy who's pitching for the team for the first time, so it could be even a little bit more complicated as Fryman strikes out.
Well, Smiley has no problem elevating up in the zone, as I talked about his stiff front side and how sometimes he struggles to get the ball down in the zone. And man, if you're pitching high in the zone to Fryman, I mean, you're pitching high in the zone.
So here's Reddick. Reddick was 1 for 5 last night, and he swings and misses. So Smiley pumping it in there right now. Reddick's got his average up to 258. Now he's behind in the count 0-2. Pulling off a little bit there is Reddick.
Josh Reddick, who's shown great balance and rhythm since he's been back, just shows you how good Smiley's breaking ball is.
And that one poked right up the middle, and that's a base hit. So Reddick behind in the count 0-2, and he singles right up the middle. That's a hot hitter.
Well, fool me once, but you're not going to fool me twice. Smiley tries to come back with another breaking ball. Reddick, who's very adamant of keeping both eyes on the ball, not letting that right eye go right, staying right, ball on barrel. That's what you want to see out of Josh Reddick. This young man has tremendous power, but when he's utilizing the ability to use good contact with his hands, he can be a dangerous hitter.
So the 2-out single by Reddick brings up Callaspo. Callaspo 232 overall, playing second base tonight. You're just joining us. Sogard is playing short tonight. Lowry with a bruised finger on a play last night. He's going to sit out tonight. Callaspo, seen him play all over this year. Tonight at second base.
I think part of your resume when it's filled out when you come here, part of the criteria is you have to be able to play more than one position. A lot of versatility up and down this roster.
think with the combination of Vogt, Moss, and Callaspo, and where those three guys can play in the amount of positions that they can play, I think that's been huge for the A's this year. And we're not talking just play them. We're not talking about just put a guy out there, but they have played him well. Everywhere that A's have put Vogt, he looks pretty comfortable. Moss is fine in the outfield. He's actually a pretty good outfielder. Reddick is going to be out at second base. So Smiley picks off Reddick, and that'll do it for the A's in the second. On to the third. No score. California is brought to you by Discover RV in Lodi. Come and check out our grand opening and summer savings. Visit our website at discoverrv.net. No score, top of the third. All right. You're a much healthier eater than I am. You certainly know that for sure.
Yeah, but
I see fried food, I get a little worked up.
Yeah, that's okay. Every now and then I'll destroy a fried chicken leg myself.
Here's your update from Dodger Stadium. And the Angels got a 2-run double from Chris Iannetta to take a 2-0 lead. But Juan Uribe has just hit a 3-run homer for the Dodgers. So it's 3-2 bottom of the second inning. That's Hector Santiago for the Angels and Clayton Kershaw for the Dodgers. I mean, getting like more than one base runner in an inning against Clayton Kershaw is almost a victory. The Angels got a 2-run double. How about that?
Arguably the best pitcher in baseball.
I think, yeah, to me it's not even an argument. I just don't see anybody that just cuts right through lineups like he does.
Glenn, the one thing that Jason Hamill can't do is come out and start struggling in this inning. Had a little trouble with his breaking ball last inning. He had to start going to the fastball, which he hadn't established early on. Very important that he started pitching to contact and try to have some very quick at-bats. Give his offense a chance to get on the board.
So Jennings is aboard. Keep an eye on him. First pitch to Zobrist is low. So Hamill got out of a bases loaded jam in the second inning and comes right back and walks the leadoff man here in the third. And retired the first 5 hitters that he faced. The Rays swiped 3 bags last night. Years when the Rays had A.J. Upton and Carl Crawford, and they were usually first or second in stolen bases in the American League every year. But last year, 12th in the league. This year, 13th in the league. So that surprises me a little bit. I mean, you got to have the personnel. Can't have guys who can do it. But you really did get used to the Rays being a team that could beat you on the base paths.
Well, they still play an aggressive style for the most part. And normally in the middle of the game is when Madden starts getting runners in motion, and I wouldn't be surprised to see something happen here.
Jennings dives back. Jennings, there you see the lead, and it's a pretty good one. Zobrist, diving play by Donaldson, throws a second for one, back to first, not quite in time. What a play by Donaldson.
Just a great all-around effort all the way around the horn. First of all, Josh Donaldson showing great instincts at third base with the ability to throw from his knees, and Alberto Callaspo, who has shined as a third baseman, showing you the ability to turn it over with quickness at second base. Take a pretty good runner to beat that play out there. I mean, that was well executed all the way around.
So it's a fielder's choice for Zobrist, and here's Matt Joyce. Joyce base hit center field. Zobrist will trot to second, stop there. So hit number 3 for the Rays, and they get 2 on.
Zobrist, a well sought after player at the trade deadline. Pretty good contact hitter with occasional power, but he seeks opposite field damage most of the time. And Joyce, I'm sorry, does a very good job of staying inside the baseball here and lining him in the center field.
So here's Longoria. Longoria struck out looking at a big curveball from Hamill. Another curveball grounded to Sogard. Fires to second for one, back to first, double play. So Longoria hits into the double play, and Hamill works out of another jam. No scores to go to the bottom of the third.
Enjoy the nostalgic days of A's baseball during every Patelco Credit Union Throwback Thursday game this season. 5,000 fans get a commemorative button, a scorecard, and a throwback price on plaza-level tickets presented by Patelco Credit Union. This Thursday, 5,000 fans will get a limited edition Charlie O buttons. But for more information and tickets, go to athletics.com/Thursday.
Bottom of the third, and the first pitch to Callaspo in for a strike from Drew Smiley. Remember, Callaspo was batting when Reddick was taken off, was picked off first. So for Callaspo, he's really seeing Smiley for the second time. So 2-1 the count. Sogard to follow, and then Coco Crisp. Drive to left center, but Zobrist got a good jump. He was shaded that way, and that is out number one.
A lot of people forgot about the versatility of Eric Sogard when he first came here to the big leagues. He spent a lot of time at shortstop, and it's because he's always had very good feet and very quick hands. Playing on the other side of the diamond, it always presents a challenge because of the different angles that the ball comes off the bat. But Eric Sogard does a tremendous job squaring his hips up, getting his arm in position to create a fine angle to Callaspo, who picks up the ball very clearly. Very nicely turned and very timely double play.
First pitch to Sogard is down and away from Smiley. With a couple of hits so far. A double by Donaldson in the first, and Reddick single in the second inning. Curve is popped up. Loney, the first baseman, is underneath, and that's the second out.
Glenn, I spoke of the robust right-handers with the plus changeups that the A's have been facing and how difficult they were in facing a crafty lefty tonight. Might present an easier challenge, but if you look 2 starts ago when Smiley faced the Anaheim Angels, he had 11 punch-outs against a pretty good offensive club down there. So his stuff is not a walk in the park against this guy. He's a quality left-handed pitcher.
Yeah, Smiley last pitched on the day he was traded. So he was pitching against the White Sox in Detroit, and then after that game, he found out that he was part of the big David Price trade. And last year, Smiley pitched out of the bullpen for the Tigers, and he was really good. And what he did, Shooty, is he got left-handers out. And he's doing it again this season. 176 left-handers are hitting against Smiley, and it's one of the reasons why he was so good last year out of the Tigers bullpen. But I think all along, Shooty, that they being the Tigers, figured that he would eventually be in their rotation. Maybe one of the reasons why they traded Doug Fister, knowing that they had Smiley ready to drop into the rotation. Strike 3 called, and Coco can't believe it. He drops the bat, and that's 4 strikeouts for Drew Smiley. No score after 3. to you by Sonoma Raceway. The Verizon IndyCar Series returns to Sonoma Raceway on August 22nd to the 24th for the GoPro Grand Prix of Sonoma. No score, top of the 4th inning between the A's and the Rays. Gentleman's been to a few games, I do believe. He may have a Shooty Babbitt pin on there from 1981. 81, right?
Yeah, that would definitely be a collector's item if you had it this long.
Hey.
True fan.
Loney, Escobar, Figueroa. And a quick 0-2 to James Loney, who lined out to Gomes in the 2nd inning. Loney hitting in the 5th spot. And he's got himself a base hit to right center field. Full gets over there to cut it off, and back into the stretch is Jason Hamill.
How about this Donaldson t-shirt? To celebrate the starting all-star third baseman, the A's are announcing a new Josh Donaldson tee giveaway on Thursday, August 7th for 15,000 fans, courtesy of NetSuite. Fans that act quickly can also take advantage of a special $10 offer to field-level tickets at the game while supplies last. Go to athletics.com/dynamic to purchase your tickets.
So here's Escobar. Donaldson has it. Out at second, out at first. Another double play turned by the Athletics, and just like that, there are 2 outs here in the 4th.
Well, depending on who you talk to, a lot of people say a dog is a man's best friend, but when you're Jason Hamill right now, the double play truly is. Endorsing ground balls in critical situations, Josh Donaldson, not only has he been an all-star this year, pretty soon you're going to have to start considering him as a Gold Glove candidate. And make sure you come out here Thursday so you can get your t-shirt.
You're a good salesman, Shooty.
Well, we've got a great product to sell out here, Glenn.
Yes, indeed. That is true. Curveball is high to Cole Figueroa, who had a base hit to right field. So a double play into the 3rd inning. Big play there. Double play here in the 4th. Foul into the seats. So 2-2 the count. Some goodies on Cole Figueroa, 27 years old. And this one flipped down the left field line, and that's going to drop fair. So Figueroa has a couple of hits tonight.
Well, I think we figured it out by now. Whenever Hamill is struggling a little bit, it's normally up in the zone because everything else is predicated on him being able to pitch to the corners and down in the zone. When you have a guy like Figueroa who makes a living off of spraying the ball around the field, those pitches there are normally the easiest ones to handle.
So Casale hits. He walked in the 2nd inning. Albert Pujols says just knocked in a run with a double, so it's now Angels 3, Dodgers 3, going to the bottom of the 3rd. Figueroa was leaning big time, about as much as you can lean without going, and he almost got picked off.
Yeah, and he was probably thinking about going on first movement, but Hamill did a pretty good job of holding on to the baseball and kind of disrupting his rhythm a little bit more. A lot of times you have base runners over there. They try to find a pattern in a pitcher, 1001, 1002, and then they take off. And a lot of times pitchers understand that. And I think Hamill figured that Figueroa had a little counting action going over there. Ricky Henderson, the greatest base stealer of all time, always talked about paying attention to what the pitcher does when he goes home instead of trying to pick up his move when he comes to first base.
Interesting. So don't worry about the move. Worry about what he does when he goes to the plate.
And the reason for that is because most of the time he's consistent in what he does when he delivers the ball. But when he's going to disrupt something, he does something different when he throws to first base.
Makes sense.
Drops his glove, twists his shoulder, tilts his head. So many different variables, so many different things to key on.
Figueroa's got a very big lead. Not running. Pitch out. Pitch out almost caught the outside corner. You got to be careful.
That wasn't a good pickoff. I mean, pitch out there. And you know, Glenn, on the flip side of that, pitchers are very smart also. A lot of times base runners are tipped themselves.
Fastball is inside, so 2-1 the count.
A lot of times they don't understand the simple things. Sometimes they'll start out with their hands on their knees, and all of a sudden the base coach flashes a sign over there and let them know that they're going. They get excited and they drop their hands and they get to a more athletic position. And what they do is normally just give themselves away.
Quick throw, and it's a little low. Fryman grabs it. .58 pitches for Jason Hamill with 2 outs in the 4th inning. And there's a shot to left field, a base hit. And Gomes dropped it momentarily, but gets it back into third quickly. So Figueroa stops at second. So 2 on, 2 out, and that's the 3rd hit in the inning.
Well, we've seen that the Rays are a real good fastball hitting team, and they do a great job of shortening up and getting barrel on the ball. Don't want to sound redundant here when you start talking about Hamill, but he cannot afford to live up in the strike zone, because when he does that, it seems that he loses a lot of life on his ball, and his life is created down in the zone when he's able to finish his pitches off. Normally when you miss up in the zone, it's because you're not completing the pitch.
Here's Kiermaier. He hit with the bases loaded in the 2nd inning and grounded out to end the inning. Curve is a touch outside. Kiermaier 1 for 4 with that triple last night. He hits one high in the air towards Sam Ford. So Hamill's going to work his way out of another jam, and he does. 2 more stranded by the Rays. They've now stranded 6 through the first 4 innings. No score as we go to the bottom of the 4th. earlier today, his outfielder Sam Folt, third base coach Mike Gallego joined former Athletics Vita Blue Willie McGee. There you see Willie and our own Shooty Babbitt. They were hosting the Chevron Youth Baseball Clinic at Martin Luther King Memorial Park in Richmond. The current and former A's players taught fundamentals of the game to children from the Richmond Police Activities League, and each child received an A's cap, a t-shirt, and a box lunch. Many thanks to Chevron for hosting the clinic, and thank you to all the players and coaches for taking the time to work with these future big leaguers. And Shooty, nice job, buddy. Did you have fun?
We had the time of our life.
Tell me about it. You're all about it.
Just the joy in the eyes of the kids. First of all, I want to thank the A's and Chevron for taking a leap forward to create some action in the community. There was some refurbishment of a field down at Martin Luther King Field on 10th and Cutting in Richmond. And Chevron got word of just the lack of kids' participation in the park, and an idea came up with Deidre Page that we should put on a clinic down in Richmond for the kids. And Chevron was all in, and it was a tremendous day. In order to get Willie McGee, Tiny Felder, my son, who all are Richmond residents, grew up in Richmond, and kids to be able to relate to someone that grew up in the same community and understand that they could live their dream as well as these guys did, it was just a great day. When
Sam Folt is going to have a swinging base hit.
When Mike Gallego and Sam Folt came out with Stomper, that basically just sealed the deal. So it was a magnificent day, and once again, thank you very much to Chevron. Sam Folt, excuse me please, off the end of the bat, and whenever he creates soft contact like that, you might as well just put it in your pocket, because as well as he runs, there's no way in the world you're going to get him out.
The old swinging bunt. Could not have bunted it any better. It would have been squaring around. So Folt is aboard. Third hit for the A's. Here's Donaldson. Donaldson had a double to left center in the first inning. He did not go around.
This is what they call the excuse me swing. You're dropping a whole lot of barrel, but you're only getting a little bit of wood. And thank goodness to that cup on the end. It gives that ball a little more spin, which gave it a crazy spin, which it stayed fair. And that's what allowed Sam Folt to just walk in.
Donaldson with a shot down the line, but it's going to hook foul. So 1-1 the count.
Glenn, you look out there at the shift that the Rays are employing right now. Josh Donaldson, yes, is a true power hitter, but he's shown us time and time again the ability to hit the ball through the right side. And I think they're really opening up things over there on the right side for Josh Donaldson.
That's for sure. He's got a lot of base hits that way. Now 1-2. He may have been looking over there that time.
Well, after he pulled
outside.
that ball down the left field line, he had a feeling they were going to pitch him away. He just prematurely pulled his hips out a little bit, and that's why he pulled off that ball.
So behind in the count, 1-2. Gomes to follow. Smiley at 55 pitches, so really both Smiley and Hamill pitch count up a little bit for this point in the ball game. And that one blocked at the plate, but Folt is able to get a good jump and get to second base. The ball was blocked by Casali, and then it popped up and it hit Donaldson. But Folt, who's a terrific base runner, was off and moving.
Anticipation, anticipating ball in dirt. Even though it was a fairly decent job of blocking the baseball, and it didn't get that far away from the catcher, especially since it ricocheted off Donaldson and knocked the ball closer to the catcher. By Sam Folt reading ball in dirt, he was able to walk into second base very easy.
missed outside, and it's a walk, and the A's have 2 on and nobody out.
Glenn, you speak of pitch count for both guys. It's a contrast of 2 different pitchers. When you look at Hamels, his pitch count has gotten up there where it is because missing out of the zone. You look at Smiley, he pitches away from the zone. He hasn't been able to get a chase, and Hamel has not been able to command it all the way, and that's why his count is up where it is.
So here's Gomes, who struck out swinging in the first inning. Gomes got an off-speed pitch, had a good swing, fouls it straight back. 17.8 pitches per inning for the season, and that's a lot.
You know what they call those guys? Nibblers.
Interesting. I saw a stat that I've never seen before. Foul balls. Gives up a lot of foul balls, guys. Hanging in there, hanging in there.
That is a different stat.
Gomes again foul back, so the count is 0-2. Norris waiting in the on-deck circle. Pretty good speed with Fold and Donaldson on the bases. Pitch is line but foul. Gomes got out in front of a breaking ball.
Interesting here. Gomes froze on a fastball on his last at bat with 2 strikes. Doing a pretty good job of hanging in there, letting the ball travel. And that's one of Johnny's finer qualities, just his ability to extend at bats by fouling pitches off to create that stat that you were talking about.
All these hitters seem to do that.
Would you think that the A's number of foul balls would probably rank high in the league?
I think it would be in the top 3, and I do not have any numbers in front of me. I'm just guessing. Jammed a little bit, and Zobrist has it, gets it back in. Now, Smiley made a start against the A's earlier this year. It was Memorial Day, and it was right here in Oakland, and he got knocked around big time. He gave up 4 home runs, and when it was all said and done, the A's won the game 10-0. So start for Drew Smiley. So pitching better tonight, certainly, but that day 6 earned runs in 5 innings. Here's Norris. Well, obviously the Rays liked him. What's the scouts' take on Drew Smiley? I mean, is this a guy that you feel like can be a solid starter for a long time in the big leagues?
Oh, he's a true middle of the rotation guy. He goes out there, he battles, he has 3 pitches that he can throw for strikes, and he gives you a chance to win. There's no panic in his game. I think the one thing about Smiley is when he gets in trouble, he may get a little tired and he loses his release point. When you get a pitcher out there fidgety and he's worried about where he releases the ball, where his arm angle is, it gets in his head a little bit. That normally affects his command. But when you have him in the stretch like this, this is when you have your best chance to get him.
2-0 to Norris. Popped up foul. So 2-1 now to Norris. Smiley making his first start for the Rays. The guy he got traded for, David Price, made his first start for the Tigers tonight. Did that at Yankee Stadium. The Tigers won the game 4-3 in extra innings. David Price, 8 2/3 innings, 8 hits, 3 earned runs, 10 strikeouts. He got a no decision. And the Tigers won in extra innings at Yankee Stadium 4-3. So the Tigers trotting out David Price for the first time. They got the last 3 Cy Young Award winners in their rotation. How about that?
Well, they're going to be tough. But I'd like to see the matchup. I really would.
There's all kinds of baseball left, but it is hard not to think about what it would be like for the A's and the Tigers to play again in the postseason. 2-2 pitch. Call the ball. And Quinn Wolcott's hearing it, and I'm going to be honest with you, that looked like a pretty good pitch.
Don't take that one again, Dino.
Oh, my goodness. I think Garrett Norris got a break.
That's what happens when you throw downhill. It creates a tough problem for the hitter to see as well as the umpire.
So 3-2, 1 out. And Smiley gets the strikeout anyways as Norris swings and misses. So Smiley had to make 2 good pitches, but he ends up getting Norris.
Well, that changeup that he just threw was set up by the first pitch that he threw that Derek Norris took that we thought was strike 3, but same location, but just a little different action. You hear so much talked about depth and tilt on a pitch. What made that pitch so good was the depth, and what I mean by depth is how far that it gets into the hitting zone before the action starts on it. And the deeper that you can get a breaking ball into the zone before it starts doing what it's going to do, the better chance you're going to have of getting a hitter off balance. Norris had no chance to handle that breaking pitch. That was pretty good.
So it's up to Fryman. And the A's had 2 on and nobody out. Gomes with a fly ball to left, Norris with the strikeout, and now it's up to Fryman. And did he go? Home plate umpire says yes, he did.
Big Travis Fryman got the windmill motion going with his new batting stance. Once you get started, when you have that amount of movement in your swing, it's hard to hold up.
Fryman struck out swinging in the second inning. The Angels and the Dodgers tied 3-3 going to the top of the 4th inning. Fryman again checks his swing. This time he did not go. 1-1. Clayton Kershaw has given up 3 runs in 3 innings tonight to the Angels. Fryman waving that bat out in front. Fouls it back. So he's made significant changes in that batting stance. Help from Ricky Henderson, we're told.
I think Ricky's goal with Fryman was to try to create a little more power. I watched him in the minor leagues when he was in the Padres system, when he hit 25 home runs a year. He's a guy who has a lot of power, but he sacrificed a lot of that to become a better hitter, which was very advantageous for the A's last year.
Runners go. The pitch is high, and it's going to be a double steal. So Fold steals third, Donaldson steals second, and the pitch was a ball.
The element of surprise. Situation where you're not looking for guys who don't steal many bases to run, but if you give it to me, I'm going to take it.
So for Fold, his 16th steal of the year. For Donaldson, his 5th. And now they're going to walk Fryman to face Reddick. Interesting move. Well, Joe Madden will do these things occasionally, which he's good managers. A lot of times they work.
I don't find this very strange, Glenn, for the simple fact that a lot of managers like to go with the matchups, and left on left is just tough for most left-handed hitters, even though Josh Reddick has possessed a couple of pretty good swings against Smiley tonight. I know they're going to talk to him about being very careful with him.
I guess the surprise is you had 2 strikes on the hitter. Right.
You got a very good point there.
Right fielder, number 16, Josh.
So Reddick is a hot hitter, and the bases are loaded. He had a base hit in the 2nd inning. He's got 8 hits in his last 16 at bats. So Smiley with the bases loaded, and the first pitch to Reddick is a curveball that's ripped into the seats, foul. So Reddick out in front of that breaking ball. Reddick now hitting .261 with his hit in the 2nd inning. Behind in the count 0-2. He was down 0-2 in the 2nd inning, and he poked one into center field for a base hit. And the runners, Fold, Donaldson, Fryman. Smiley deals, pitches outside with a fastball. Curveball is popped up. Figueroa, the second baseman, surrounds it. He's got it side retired. So the A's leave the bases loaded, and we're on to the 5th. Still no score. Ace Baseball on Comcast Sportsnet California is brought to you by Casino Matrix. Come see for yourself the Casino Matrix difference. Top of the 5th, scoreless ball game, and it'll be the top of the order for Tampa Bay. Jennings, Zobrist, and Joyce. For Jason Hamill, he's allowed 6 hits. He has walked 2. He has struck out 1. First pitch is outside. He had a 3-up, 3-down first inning. But since then, Rays have had base runners all over the place, but Hamill has got a couple double plays, and he's been able to work his way out of jams. The last 2 innings, Rays have had their leadoff man aboard. This one hit high and foul right up over our head into the upper deck. Right above us. There we are. There's 4 hard-working people in that picture.
Oh, man. Well, one thing that
there's 4 hard-working announcers in that picture. And I'm going to let you decide the one that isn't. No, I'm just joking. Joking. 2-2 pitch, fouled straight back.
I just wish that they could put the camera on all the hard-working people behind the scenes, because they are the ones that are doing all the heavy lifting back there. I'm just surprised we haven't gotten that stat about foul balls yet from our friend BI.
Yeah, speaking of heavy lifting, there's the quickly becoming famous BI. Some people will tell you that BI stands for bogus information. I disagree with that. Not in this booth, it doesn't.
That's the farthest thing from the truth.
Should be in the seats, and it will about 3 rows back.
Well, I'm going to tell you what the truth really is. Jason Hamill is giving the A's everything that you possibly could want from him at this time in the game. There are a bunch of goose eggs up on the board. He's battling, competing, making quality pitches when he needs to. Problem is, this offense, they just keep that car in the garage a little bit too long.
And it's a leadoff walk to the speedy Desmond Jennings. Second time that Jennings has walked. So 3 walks now, and Hamill back in the stretch.
Now batting, number 18, Ben Zobrist.
Relievers hustling down. Not hustling because they're necessarily going to be in the game soon, but they may have decided, hey, I'll race you to the bullpen. Winner goes get me a cup of coffee. Left field line, and that's going to be foul right at the bullpen.
Well, the one thing about those guys in the bullpen, they understand what their roles are and what time of the game that might be their time. We get to the middle of in the innings now. Jesse Chavez runs down there. He's a guy who's going to be a very valuable long man if that situation ends up being that. But it's a lot to be said over the next couple of weeks.
Jennings has 14 steals on the year, so keep an eye on him. Zobrist takes low. Sometimes just a long time in the stretch position is a great way to. It's better than a good move to first sometimes. Freeze that runner. And he's not going, and the ball is lined, and it hit the umpire, and it's going to be a foul ball. Umpire will always line up in foul territory, and the reason he does that is that play right there. If it hits him, it's a foul ball.
You don't see that happening that often to the umpire. A lot of times they're staring it down, right down that line, but he's definitely in the proper position. On the flip side of that, that's why they always tell base runners at third base to lean off the base in foul territory, so if you get hit, you won't be called out.
So I hope John Tumpain's all right. That one to the backstop, quickly bounces back to Norris, but not before Jennings goes to second. So that one bounced way out in front of home plate.
Talking about holding on too long there. It's probably the worst pitch that Hamill has thrown tonight. Probably when you throw a ball that short, you're just not sure if you want to. Derek Norris had no chance.
So now Zobrist will try to get him over. Hits it hard to Sogard. Play at third. The throw is there, and they got him. Jennings went, and he's thrown out at third, and that's a mistake by the Rays. And Sogard made a nice play.
That is a cardinal sin for a base runner at second base. Your responsibility there is to make sure that that ball is hit to your left before you think about going right. Disman, being a very good base runner at times, he knows a lot better than that. A lot of times your emotions get caught up there, and when you get caught in dead man's land, you have to stop and you have to make sure that you go back to the base, because there are not many guys in the game can beat a play like that.
So it goes as a fielder's choice, but now the runner's at first. And here's Joyce. Shooting in tight games like this, and the A's have played in a bunch of them lately. But you can tell runs are going to be at a premium. A mistake on the bases, especially when you take yourself out of scoring position, can be a huge mistake. And now it's 0-2.
So far, this has been a pitching versus pitching matchup without a lot of offense, and that's the one thing you can't do, is afford to run yourself out of innings. This is where Hamill was having success early on in the game, being able to bury his breaking ball into the dirt.
Shift is on for Joyce, and that time he's able to lay off that big curve, which is not easy to do. .77 pitches for Jason Hamill, with Longoria in the on-deck circle. Pop-up foul, high fastball. Mariners are playing tonight. They are hosting the Atlanta Braves in interleague game. Seattle with a 4-1 lead, and that game in the 5th inning with Felix Hernandez pitching. So we'll keep an eye on that one. Swing and a miss. Off-speed pitch. And that's the second strikeout for Jason Hamill.
There was a graphic showing that Hamill only used his changeup 11% of the time, meaning that he uses it when he really needs it. Joyce has seen a diet of breaking balls in this at bat. Wasn't ready for the changeup in that count there.
Well, here's Longoria with the strikeout, and he has hit into a double play. So the double play was big and ended the third inning. Longoria overall with 14 home runs, 57 RBIs. His 14th home run came last night. Runner goes, and the ball is hooked foul. Right over top of the A's bullpen. So Zobrist was off and running. Well, the crowd's starting to make some noise. 0-2, 2 outs. With the lean. Not going. The ball is hit in the air, shallow right field. Long run for Reddick, still coming on, and Reddick dives, and he can't get it. Zobrist stops at third as the ball is thrown in and knocked down by Norris. So Zobrist stops at third. And it goes as a long single for Evan Longoria.
That ball was in no man's land. If you watch where Alberto Callaspo started out playing behind second base in a position that he normally doesn't, but because of the shift that the A's have employed here, Josh Reddick comes a long, long way to almost make a great play. I mean, to be 10 feet, 15 feet behind second base, I mean, you're talking about showing tremendous range and the ability to keep your eyes on the ball when your head is bobbling up and down like it is. This is one of the reasons that Josh Reddick was one of the best outfielders in all of the American League in 2012, and there's a big gold glove sitting on his mantle to back that up.
So here is Loney, a line out and a single. Loney takes a fastball inside. Reddick had it in his glove for just a moment.
Normally when Spider-Man touches it, Spider-Man holds on to it.
That was a long run. Thought maybe Zobrist would have a chance to score, but Tom Foley stopped him at third. So 2-0 to Loney. Tough hitter in these spots, Loney. And that one hit hard but foul. There's Zobrist off on the swing of the bat.
Well, Glenn, when you're a base runner, the only time that you don't need a base coach is when you can't see the ball. And that ball was definitely behind Zobrist. He should have been running as hard as he possibly could to third base, picking up Foley the whole time. Had he done so, Foley no doubtedly would have waved him on to home plate there. That was just bad base running.
I'm not quite sure how you cannot be running hard on a play like that with 2 outs. Curveball snaps in there for a strike. 2-2 the count.
That's been his bread and butter today. A lot of looks for strikes.
Pitch is hit high in the air, foul territory. Donaldson over, Donaldson over, Donaldson has So Hamill out of another jam. Bottom of the 5th coming up. We're still scoreless. By AT&T. Dominic and Jack from Danville. Good looking pair. So we appreciate tonight's AT&T fan photo. Well, a little bit like last night, Shooty. Lots of traffic on the bases, but not a lot of runs. It's no score, bottom of the 5th inning. The A's have stranded 4. And they're 0 for 4 with runners in scoring position. The Rays have stranded 8, and they're 0 for 6 with runners in scoring position. And there's a line drive, base hit center field by Callaspo.
It is just a great sight to watch Alberto Callaspo swing the ball. Doesn't matter if he lines up on the left side or the right side. The swing always appears the same. Nice and simple, short and compact. A lot of hard, consistent contact.
So here is Sogard, hit number 4 for the Athletics, and that belongs to Callaspo. Longoria, the third baseman, is a step in on the grass. Outfield very shallow and swung toward left. Sogard takes a fastball for a strike from Smiley. They're going to the bottom of the 5th at Dodger Stadium. 3-3 Angels Dodgers. Mariners still leading the Braves 4-1 in the 6th inning up in Seattle. Runner goes, bunted. Smiley picks it up. Quickly to first. Got him. So Callaspo was moving and Sogard bunted. And it was close.
and it was a very good bunt. One thing about Sogard and his skill set, he gives you so many options in a situation here. He can either bunt for a hit, he can sacrifice bunt. He's a hit-and-run candidate, so he gives Bob Melvin so many different options where Sogard just doesn't have to just sacrifice himself. He can also try to create more traffic on the base by trying to bunt for a hit. And because he does such a great job of getting the bunt down, it allows himself to also give himself a chance to get a base hit.
So, a runner in scoring position, and it's Coco Crisp. Shooty, remember we talked last night? A lot has been made about the importance of having Coco Crisp in the lineup, having him in that leadoff spot. And you said, hey, gets the innings going, gets things rolling. But we also agreed that he's important later on in the game because he's a very good clutch hitter. And just because you're in the leadoff spot in the lineup doesn't mean you're going to lead off an inning 5 times. You're going to come up with guys in scoring position, and he shoots from the right field, a base hit. Kiermaier's throw to the plate is high, sails over everybody, and the A's have the lead. And now Smiley not backing up, and Coco ends up at third. RBI hit for Coco Crisp.
Poetry in motion. It's no doubt that Coco Crisp is the engine that makes this train go, but he's also so much a professional hitter that he's probably capable of hitting in the third slot. Right here, he selects a fastball that he can get inside of, serve him to right field. Great jump there. No chance, and Coco Crisp, being the heads-up base runner that he is, never stops his feet moving. We talk about Josh Reddick doing such a great job of hitting the cutoff man and not allowing the base runner to advance a base because of the throw was so high. Coco Crisp was able to run into third base and get another man in scoring position with less than 2 outs.
So it goes as a single, RBI, second on the throw home, and then an E9 on the overthrow, allowing Coco to go from second to third. So Kiermaier gets the air. Smiley was not backing up the play, and if he is, Coco probably does not go to third, and that's a huge 90 feet. Now let's see where Smiley is. Now he should be way back. And look where he is. Now he should be back by the on-deck circle. And he's standing on the foul line.
You're exactly right. And Coco picked that up because you saw some hesitation, almost a stopping action from Coco halfway between second and third. But once he realized that Smiley wasn't there, he just continued on third base.
Well, here's Sam Fuld infield in. So it's really obviously an error on the throw, but it's a significant mental error by Drew Smiley.
Bob Melvin might not put on a squeeze here, but it wouldn't surprise me to see Sam Fuld take matters in his own hand and try to make something happen here. This is a big run down at third base.
Just 51 errors, but an error there. When you think about it, Shooty, a base running mistake last inning by the Rays, and a couple mental mistakes, and that doesn't go down on the stat sheet anywhere, but small mistakes like that this time of year can cost you, and especially against a team like the A's, they always seem to take advantage of other teams' mistakes. 0-2 pitch to Fuld is a fastball high.
You know, Glenn, we got to the ballpark today, and at 3 o'clock, the A's were out on the field going through some drills, and that's not an uncommon sight for this ball club, and I think that's why they're so prepared in situations like that. It's why they normally execute, and it's normally at the behest of the team that they're playing.
That one rolled foul. Coco coming down the line. So the A's have grabbed a 1-0 lead here in the bottom of the 5th inning. Donaldson will be next. Fold lays off that big curveball. Both pitchers have worked hard tonight. For Smiley, especially the last 2 innings. So now Smiley's ready, and the 2-2 pitch, and he got him swinging on a pitch in the dirt. So Fold will be frustrated with that, and that's the 6th strikeout for Smiley.
Well, no matter how high Smiley's pitch count gets, one thing about him, he just does not give in. I mean, he's going to throw balls out of the zone until he gets a chase. I mean, you alluded to him walking a hitter with 2 strikes. He'd rather walk a guy than give in to a guy.
So here's Donaldson. Donaldson with a double and a walk. He's also stole a base. He swings at a first pitch curveball in the dirt. Coco tied it up with the base hit that scored Callaspo. Callaspo led off the inning with a single, then Sogard sacrificed him to second, and Coco drove him in with a base hit. Smiley tried that same pitch that Donaldson swung at, but this time Josh lays off.
Josh has been fishing a couple of times tonight, but fish not biting.
Outfield swung around toward left. Again in the dirt, so 3 straight pitches in the dirt. So Smiley now at 92 pitches, 33 balls, 59 strikes. Lots of pitches tonight for the young left-hander Drew Smiley. A shot toward third, scooped up by Longoria. Side retired. Donaldson hit that extremely hard, but the A's get a run on a couple of hits, so we're headed to the 6th. A's 1, Rays nothing. Happy Cam, powered by Toyota Prius. So good night at the ballpark with the A's leading 1-0. Everybody seems to be having a good time, including those two gentlemen. Two terrific A's fans who are always having a good time. Those two guys as well. Is that a San Diego Padre hat on? That's all right. Doesn't matter, right?
He's a baseball fan.
Maybe that's his National League team and the A's are his American League team. Maybe he likes Tyson Ross from Oakland, right?
I can understand that. Representing.
Escobar, Figueroa, and Casale here in the 6th inning. Jason Hamill, he has, I mean, we are talking weaving in and out of trouble for Jason Hamill. He has done it in each of the last 4 innings. And in the last 4 innings, the Rays have stranded 8. And now it's 3-0. They stranded 3 in the 2nd, 1 in the 3rd, 2 in the 4th, 2 in the 5th. And Bob Melvin is not going to mess around. He's got a lefty and a righty throwing. Not close, and a 4-pitch walk to Escobar leading off the 6th inning. So that's 4 walks by Hamill. He has struck out 2. And Kurt Young's going to trot out. Well, obviously, Shooty, the Rays have no run, so Hamill has been better tonight. But boy, the first 5 hitters of the game, it was bang, bang, bang. He was throwing his breaking ball for a strike. And it looks like since then he's really been looking for the feel for his pitches.
Well, you said it, Glenn. You said weaving in and out of traffic, and a lot of times when that pitch count gets up, the bats get to be a little strenuous, legs get a little tired, you start missing up in the zone. And that's the one place you don't want to miss.
So here's Cole Figueroa. He's 2 for 2. Donaldson comes charging in, and Figueroa did not show a sign of bunting. He is taking a long look down there. Donaldson not coming in this time, and that one misses low. 1-1 the count. Jeff Bellevue is starting to throw, the left-hander.
You have to be very careful in this situation with Josh Donaldson. Charging in on the hitter, a guy who's already shown you that he can hit the ball to left field. It's early in the game, and normally visiting teams play to win. They don't normally play to tie.
2-1 now to Cole Figueroa, with Casale, the catcher, waiting in the on-deck circle.
I'd be very surprised to see him bunt here. I mean, this is the pitch to give him an opportunity to hit the ball the other way. And I think it's a pretty good executed pitch by Hamill, but it's a little bit too far off the dish.
Two-one pitch is driven toward left center field. Fold on the run, and Sam Fuld will get there and make the catch. Nice running play by Sam Fuld.
What a great luxury to have Sam Fuld back in the mix here. A young man who can play all 3 outfield positions. And just the chemistry already between him and Johnny Gomes. I mean, that's a ball that's tailing off the bat of a left-handed hitter, and normally a left fielder will be charging hard after that ball, but Johnny Gomes, understanding the range of Sam Fuld, peels away very quickly and easily, making it very easy for Sam Fuld to call for that baseball.
One out for Kurt Casale. Casale has a walk and a single tonight, the young catcher. Curveball, nice block by Norris. Bounced. Anyway, he's out in front as well.
Watching Derek Norris scoop balls behind the plate, I guarantee you this guy played shortstop or third base somewhere along the line in his earlier days, because he has great hands. A lot of times you like to see a catcher block those balls, but he does a tremendous job of picking them.
Runner goes, a little pop up toward third. Donaldson has it. He's going to fire to first, and Fryman comes off the bat. A good throw, and it's a double play, but Fryman had to come off, so Escobar was able to get back. He was running on the play.
Well, I think part of it, Josh Donaldson was a little surprised to see the runner to be there in no man's land there, and to try to make a throw without making a crow hop there is probably what made that throw be offline there. Josh Donaldson typically has a pretty accurate arm, but you notice that he drops down from the sidearm slop, so his ball kind of tails off a little bit on him, and that's what hurts the accuracy there. Escobar running like a wide receiver out there.
Yeah, he's not making much of an effort. So when it's time for change, think Speedy Oil Change and Tune-Up, your oil change, tune-up, and repair experts. Hamill done. We'll be back. Seven hits, no runs, 4 walks. And he leaves after 97 pitches. There's a runner at first, 2 outs, and Eric O'Flaherty to face Kevin Kiermaier. Slider stays inside to Kiermaier, who is grounded out and flied out. He grounded out with the bases loaded in the second, flied out with 2 runners on in the fourth. For O'Flaherty, 10th appearance. Now it's 1-1. The Dodgers have scored a run in the bottom of the 6th inning. And they lead the Angels now 4-3, still batting in the bottom of the 6th. He's looking for some help from the Dodgers tonight. Slider and a good one.
Glenn, you talked about walking the lefty to get to the right-hander. I mean, The numbers for O'Flaherty haven't been that good against left-handers, but when you see him deliver a pitch like that, an unhittable slider, just makes you wonder why the numbers are not so good against left-handers. I mean, that's an unhittable pitch left on left.
Swing and a miss. He struck him out. Went right back to that same slider. Kiermaier, no chance on that. And the Rays do not score. Bottom of the sixth coming up. 1-0 the A's lead.
Rewind. Jason Hamill weaving in and out of traffic, somewhat laborious at times, pitching with a little more on the line tonight, being able to execute pitches when he needed them, getting double plays to getting out a big inning. Also, Oakland making great defensive plays behind him. Tampa Bay not making great decisions on the bases, and when you need them the most, you got him in the lineup. Coco Chris, big-time player coming through in a big-time situation for the Oakland Athletics.
So Hamill leads with a 1-0 lead. Now the A's will try to add on. Gomes, Norris, and Fryman. Smiley's still out there. First pitch swing and a miss by Gomes, who has struck out and hit a fly ball to left field. Up and away. Bellevue back up as he was warming up last inning. One and two. Smiley closing in on 100 pitches. High fastball, foul back. Since 2008, the Rays have used 22 different starting pitchers. That's the fewest in the majors. Giants are second with 25. Padres the most with 49. Something to be said about that, don't you think, Shooty? Continuity in the rotation.
And the Rays are doing a tremendous job of developing young pitchers.
And they get good young pitchers now. Archer's very good. Saw Cobb last night. Hellickson tomorrow. This young man, Smiley. Matt Moore, who is recovering from Tommy John surgery. I mean, those five names right there, that's a really good rotation.
You're exactly right.
And that's what they'll have next year.
I've got a stat for you, Grin, because of the hard work of the notorious B.I. Satisfy your curiosity. Most foul balls Entering tonight, number 12, the Oakland A's, 2,855.
So I was just completely off. There's a shot towards center, but Jennings is there. All right, I got to find out more about that. Just a minute, shooting. Authentic fans know where to find the best deal in Bay Area baseball. Comcast Sportsnet California's Authentic Fan Fridays at the Coliseum next Friday. You're going to see the Minnesota Twins, and you're going to get a ticket in our value deck behind home plate, an Authentic Fan scarf, a cheer card, and a $6 food and drink voucher, all for one great price. The best deal in Bay Area baseball is Comcast Sportsnet's Authentic Fan Friday. Join us Friday night, A's Twins. There's the value deck. A little more quiet tonight, but oh boy, it'll be jumping on Friday night, Shooty. Whew. You know, the ballpark in Miami has the Clevelander. We got the value deck.
The Cleveland.
It's not a whole lot different, I'm telling you. Come on, the A's are 12th in total foul balls hit.
Yes.
12th out of 30 major league teams.
Number 1, the New York Yankees, 3,016.
Oh. Norris is going to drop it into left field for a base hit. I would have thought the A's were in the top 3 or 4, so I was incorrect.
Well, I'm going to touch on that later on because I have a baseball question for you, but we'll talk about it a little later concerning the foul ball. Derek Norris stepping up for Bob Melvin. Time and time again when you need a big hit from him. Right now the A's need to try to add on a little bit. The bullpen is doing a fantastic job, but that insurance run is huge.
So here's Fryman, who has struck out and walked. Shift is on for Fryman. 3 infielders on the left side. Now it's 2-0. Ryan Cook has been warming up in the A's bullpen. Big swing by Nate Fryman, so and a good rip on 2-0.
Big Nate trying to let a little shaft out right here. You get into a hitter's count, big man. You got to come out of your shoes a little bit, and it's good to see Nate step back out and tie his shoes up a little bit because he definitely tried to unload.
And this one's popped up foul. So another good swing by Fryman. So the count even at 2-2.
Big challenge for Joe Madden over there. Got a young pitcher out there with a pretty high pitch count right now. Alex Cobb faced the same situation last night in a tight game. One thing that a manager doesn't want to do is take his starting pitcher out. I mean, he's done a tremendous job. He's only down by 1 run. He still wants to give him a chance to win this game, but as the pitch count continues to escalate, that decision is going to become easier and easier.
Number 107 coming up. And Fryman drills one, headed for the left field corner. Norris digging for third. Zobrist hustles it back in. They're waving him home. The throw to the plate is way offline. It scoots away, and that's going to allow Fryman to go to third. A horrible relay throw by Escobar, way up the line, and the A's lead 2-0. If Escobar makes any kind of decent throw, Norris is out.
We talked about PFPs as far as pitchers fielding their position. Outfielders are taught when relays are in motion, you pick up the ball, you hit the relay man, you throw the ball in the direction in which you're supposed to do it. Escobar caught the ball and looked to where he was going to throw the ball, and except throwing the ball to the base where it was expected for him to do that. And that hesitation is what allowed Mike Gallego to continue to wave the base runner in.
So Fryman ends up at third, and Smiley's out. When it's time for change, think Speedy Oil Change and Tune-Up. It's your oil change, tune-up, and repair experts.
Comcast Sportsnet California is brought to you by Xfinity, home of the most live sports, and by Toyota, #1 in MPG, durability, and resale value. Toyota, let's go places.
2-0 the A's lead. Fryman with the double. Watch this bad relay throw, double clutch.
Well, the reason why he double clutches, Glenn, because now he's rushing this throw. In order for a runner to score from first base down the left field line when it's only 330 down there, a lot has to happen, and normally some miscues are involved as well.
So the infield has to come in. Jeff Bellevue, the left-hander, facing Reddick. Reddick swings at a first pitch curveball. Bellevue, just his 8th appearance. Got a 2.08 ERA. He has been back and forth a whole bunch this year between St. Petersburg and the minor leagues. Reddick fouls it back. This is the 5th time that Bellevue has been with the Rays this season. How's that happen?
It's been on that super shot.
I'm telling you. So Smiley done after 107 pitches. So 0-2 to Reddick. And Reddick shoots it to left field for a base hit. How about that? Pitch was up and away, and he just poked it to left for an RBI single. So the A's lead 3-0.
Well, you've got to find some holes, and as a hitter, you've got to make adjustments. I mean, Josh Reddick with what we call an emergency swing, because he's able to keep both hands on the bat. He's able to fight a little longer, and he's got a strong top hand, which allows him to flick the ball through that famous 5-6 hole.
Shooty, you can break that down all you want, but when you get a hit on a swing like that, that means you're hot. Am I right or am I wrong?
You're exactly right. They just seem to find holes. The jam shots just seem to elude the infielders. I mean, you're right.
That is I'm hot, I got a magic wand swing. And it goes for an RBI single. So 3 consecutive hits and the A's lead 3-0.
Couple of huge hits, Glenn. Fryman driving one down into the corner. We talked about how important it was that the A's execute with runners in scoring position. You would hope that this would lead to some momentum in this offense, something that they can carry on.
Castro flips one to center. Jennings will grab it, and he does. So Reddick stays at first, 2 away. And Sogard with it. Castro back to the dugout. He's 1 for 3 now.
Now batting shortstop, number 28, Eric Sogard.
So Sogard, his 3rd at bat. He's got a pop out and a sacrifice bunt. Sogard fan, no doubt. Top of the 8th at Dodger Stadium. Dodgers 4, Angels 3. Fastball is high from Bellevue. Fastball outside, 2-0. Told you that the Tigers beat the Yankees earlier today at Yankee Stadium, 4-3 in 12 innings. Sabila with a home run in the 12th, and that was the difference. Solo shot. Soria got the win. Nathan got the save. See where the Tigers signed Jim Johnson, formerly of the Athletics. So Jim Johnson, who just could not get it together here with the Athletics after coming over in the offseason. So he is now a Detroit Tiger. So we'll see how that works out for Jim Johnson. 3-0 pitches in there, first strike.
Well, you know he's a major league pitcher who's had a tremendous amount of success. No one has too much pitching. So it didn't surprise me to see Jim Johnson get picked up. A lot of times a change of environment is all a guy needs.
Pitch is inside. He walked it. It wouldn't surprise me at all if Jim Johnson pitched well for the Tigers. He's too good to have pitched as poorly as he did here. Kind of hard to figure out. So 2 on 2 out for Coco Crisp. The A's have scored a pair here in the 6th inning to take a 3-0 lead. Coco with a big hit in the 5th inning. RBI single that got the first run in. So 1-0 the count. Kirby Yates is going to start loosening up. First strike, 87 miles an hour on the fastball.
Glenn, in my scouting tour, so many times scouts around the league, they just so impressed with the way the A's get it done, and they don't feel like they have stars on their team. I beg to differ. I feel that Coco Crisp is a true star in this league. He makes a difference on this ball club because he makes everyone around him that much better of a player.
That one off the glove. Reddick's going to try for third. He's going to make it. Sogard's going to trot into second.
That ball, once it gets to the plate, it just continues to run, and you see that catcher can't really get his glove in position. Therefore, it allows both base runners to move up.
It should be a pass ball. I mean, it's not an easy play, but Casali probably should have caught it, and it is a pass ball. So now they're going to walk Coco Crisp and face Sam Fuld with 2 outs.
Join the A's on Saturday, August 9th, when 20,000 fans will receive a Tony La Russa Hall of Fame bobblehead. The former Oakland manager who guided the A's to the 1989 World Series championship has been inducted to the National Baseball Hall of Fame, will throw out the ceremonial first pitch before the A's take on the Twins. To purchase your tickets, visit athletics.com/tickets or call 877-493-BALL. Inducted to the Hall of Fame.
That was Shooty Babbitt reading that promo. Shooty, you're funny.
I am going to catch so much heat.
Yeah, I would say that
over that.
You're going to catch a lot of heat now. I hope Tony La Russa is not listening.
And he is a former lawyer, too.
So the bases are loaded, and Sam Fuld steps up. Fuld a strikeout, a single, and a strikeout. First pitch is a fastball in for a strike. Close, call the ball, 1-1. Albert Pujols has just hit a solo home run off Brian Wilson in the top of the 8th inning, and that game is now tied 4-4. So a big hit by Pujols. Fuld had a good rip. 1-2 the count. Reddick at third, Sogard at second, Crisp at first. The A's have scored 2. Had 3 hits in the inning and 2 walks.
Well, this would be a great time for Sam Fuld to drive one in the gap, break this game wide open, give the A's bullpen that well-deserved breathing room that they would love to have.
Curveball hangs up there. So we're ready. Bellevue sets. Curveball hit on the ground. Figueroa scoops it up, side retired, but the A's score twice. 7th inning coming up. It's the A's 3 and the Rays nothing.
We lost a true baseball legend. Don Zimmer passed away in early June. Zim was a special advisor to the Tampa Bay Rays. His role included assisting the team during spring training and during home games. Every year, Zimmer committed his uniform number by 1 to match the number of years he had worked in baseball. During the 2014 season, he wore number 66. Zimmer often noted that every paycheck he'd ever gotten came from baseball, and he never held a job in any other profession. So baseball will certainly miss Don Zimmer. 66 years in professional baseball as coach and as a player. All-star with the Cubs and managed the Cubs. Won a division in 1989. Also managed the Padres, the Red Sox, and the Rangers. Spent the last handful of years with the Rays. So the Rays are wearing the Zim patch.
Number 8, Desmond Jennings.
So he was fun to. He was just fun to watch in the dugout.
Just a good old baseball man to the bone.
Ryan Cook comes in. So O'Flaherty, a third of an inning, he got a big out. When it's time for change, think Speedy oil change and tune-up. Your oil change, tune-up, and repair experts. So it's Cook here in the 7th inning. Jennings has walked twice and hit a fly ball to left field. Fastball right down the middle, 0-2. So the Angels and Dodgers now going to the bottom of the 8th inning, tied at 4. Slider, strike 3 call. So Jennings sees 3 pitches and he'll head back to the dugout.
One thing about Cook since he's been back, his command and feel has just been tremendous. Getting ahead in the count and able to finish off hitters with his slider. I mean, very stingy as far as pitches are concerned. Attacking the zone. Stuff is hard and crisp.
And he's now got 17 consecutive scoreless innings, does Ryan Cook. Zobrist, fly ball left field. 2 outs. So 4 pitches, 2 outs, all strikes. Cook pitched last night, 1 inning, only threw 9 pitches.
Glenn, does it appear to you when Cook comes in the game now, he just seems to just be attacking the bat?
Yeah, no question. Really pitching like he did a couple years ago. And last year, a little bit inconsistent. And a breaking ball bounced over the head of Cook. Sogard waits, throws in time. 5 pitches. Ryan Cook retires the top 3 hitters in the Rays order. 7th inning stretch coming up.
by authority of the Oakland Athletics and may not be reproduced or retransmitted in any form, and the accounts and descriptions of this game may not be disseminated without the express written consent of Athletics Investment Group, LLC.
A's Baseball on Comcast Sportsnet California is brought to you by Prism. Now your team can collaborate at a whole new level with video walls from Prism. Learn how at prism.com. A's leading 3-0, bottom of the 7th inning. When it's time for a change, think Speedy Oil Change and Tune-Up. Your oil change, tune-up, and repair experts. Kirby Yates comes in. 19th appearance, 0-1, 2.66 ERA. So Yates will face Donaldson, Gomes, and then Derek Norris. So third pitcher of the night for the Rays. So Donaldson steps in. The A's with a run in the 5th and 2 in the 6th. Well, 3 runs charged to the starter, Smiley. So our first look at Kirby Yates. It's a final from Seattle. The Mariners beat the Braves 4-2 with Hernandez getting the win and Rodney getting the save. So Hernandez now 12-3 on the year. So quick 0-2. Cesar Ramos, another left-hander, getting ready to roll down in the Rays bullpen. Take by Donaldson. Donaldson a double, a walk, and a ground out so far. Gregerson warming up for the A's. Lining up just the way Bob Melvin likes it. Cook, Gregerson, Doolittle. A shot to center. Jennings hustling back, and Jennings caught it. Tough to hit a ball harder than that. And Donaldson is retired.
Well, you know, school's right around the corner, so you need to get your own A's Bullpen Unicorn Backpack. It's presented by Ubisoft. When the A's take on the Angels on Sunday, August 24th, this unique backpack is designed by pitchers Sean Doolittle and Ryan Cook. 10,000 fans receive the backpack upon entry, so be sure to get your tickets now at athletics.com/tickets or by calling 877-493-BALL. The A's Bullpen Unicorn Backpack presented by Ubisoft. Look for your dream job at ubi.com.
He's been hanging in there all year. He's tired.
He is tired.
Tired as in sleepy tired.
Glenn, you talk about the foul balls in the stat. By the New York Yankees leading the lead in foul balls, does it mean that those hitters are just missing, or does it mean that they're late?
Yeah, that's a good call. You're right.
No, I'm asking you.
I'm going to say, well, line drive, and it's going to get over the head of Figueroa into center field. Oh, that's a fair question.
And that's the right
Combination
answer.
of both, I'm sure. But
see Johnny Gomes with his short swing, kind of eliminating the leg kick a little bit and pivoting off that front foot allows him to get the hands through a lot quicker and utilize his hips.
a lot more to get his hands started.
So 1 out, runner aboard. That hit by Gomes, the 9th for the A's tonight. Here's Norris. He's got one of them. That 2-run 6th inning started with a single. The Rangers tonight beat the White Sox 16-0 in Chicago. The Rangers had 18 hits. They had 5 home runs. Chu, Beltre, Aaron Sebia, Chirinos with a couple. It was so bad that Adam Dunn pitched. the big right-hander. Inside, 1-1.
And he probably has a knuckleball.
The Orioles beat the Blue Jays 9-3, so that's a big win for the Orioles. They stretched their lead to 5 games now over the Blue Jays, 6 over the Yankees. So the Orioles have to be feeling pretty good. They're playing good baseball right now. Norris the winner, Burley the loser. And the O's overall have won 11 out of their last 15. So not a bad time to get hot, and the Orioles are doing that. They are now 64-48, and they have the 3rd best record in all baseball. Swing and a miss. Good tight slider by Yates.
You know, at one time it looked like the Toronto Blue Jays were going to take a hold of that division and run with it because they were playing exceptional baseball. But Baltimore really looks like the class of that division right now. They have a tremendous amount of momentum going, and they're getting solid pitching. They're going to be tough to catch.
Well, Shooty, you see the East standings, okay, and those are updated. Now, the wild card, the Jays are the 2nd wild card team right now. But the Royals, who won today, are just a half game back of the Jays. The Yankees are 1 game back. And again, that's for the 2nd wild card spot. The 1st wild card spot, the Angels have that by a huge margin. The Mariners, they won, so they pick up a full game on the Jays in that chase for the 2nd wild card. So I realize that it's August 5th, but I mean, every game is super important now, and you can see the standings taking shape. And I think at this point, when you say standings, I think you have to look at the wild card standings as well.
Well, you said it. Every game counts.
A little bit low. How about this? This is interesting. Strikeout machine. Pitching staff, 999 strikeouts. If they reach 1,000 tonight, they will be the fastest to 1,000 strikeouts in Major League Baseball history. How about that? Well, you saw the relievers come in. They all have more strikeouts than innings pitched. Of course, losing David Price hurts that a little bit.
Yeah, that's an amazing stat for a club who has a bunch of young pitchers. But we have to remember they had a stallion leading that staff. Guarantee you he had a bunch of them. Mr. David Price.
That's the guy. Now a Detroit Tiger. The Major League record for strikeouts in one season was set last year by the Detroit Tigers, shooting 1,428. And there it is. Strikeout number 1,000 as a team, and it ends the 7th inning. We're on to the 8th. A's 3, Rays nothing. A's Baseball on Comcast Sportsnet California is brought to you by the Evergood Sausage Company. Get grilling. So the A's leading 3-0, and it is the top of the 8th inning. Plenty of goodies there. You like all green, maybe the gold brim?
Well, I think you're an official A's fan when you have a fitted hat.
I think you're right. So Gregerson, the 8th inning man, comes in. Cook at a 5-pitch 7th inning. So the bullpen is doing their thing again. 3 shutout innings last night. And Gregerson pitched last night, but he only threw 7 pitches. So he's going to face Longoria, Loney, and Escobar inside with the first pitch. Inside again to Longoria, who's 1 for 3. He had a single in the 5th inning. Reds beat the Indians tonight 9-2 in the interleague matchup of the battle for Ohio. So that stops the Indians' 4-game winning streak. Indians have been playing better lately, and they're in the mix for that AL wildcard spot. But all Reds tonight. Not quite a complete game. His terrific season continues. Picked up his 13th win of the year for Cincinnati. Longoria reached for it and was able to stay alive. A's will see the Twins this weekend, Shooty. Twins beat the Padres 3-1. Phil Hughes got his 11th win.
With the exception of the home run last night, Glenn, the A's have done a pretty good job of minimizing damage when it comes to Evan Longoria. Leading off an inning with no one on base is the best place to have to face him.
It's this one toward right center. No problem for Sam Fold, and that's the first out. Here we get in-depth sports news for the Bay Area fan. Know it all with Sportsnet Central. It's brought to you by Hyundai, and it's tonight at 10:30 on our sister station, Comcast Sportsnet Bay Area. We'll have all the highlights and clubhouse reaction from our game here tonight, including Joe Stigler's post-game notes. And we'll get you updated on the 49ers and the Raiders camp reports. Ahmed Fareed and Dave Feldman will host. One out for Loney. First pitch is a touch outside. The Phillies beat the Astros tonight 2-1 in 15 innings. And they played on in Philadelphia tonight. Cardinals beat the Red Sox 3-2. A bunch of interleague games going on. Loney is retired. He is 1 for 4. Cesar Ramos up again, so may see him in the bottom of the 8th inning. So here's Escobar.
So many important elements in a game. The A's defense on the infield side have just performed flawlessly today.
Yeah, a couple mistakes by the Rays. And it just seems like generally he's making fewer mistakes than their opponents. And I know statistically the A's, their air total 72, which is a fair amount. I think just in the overall game, beyond the statistical part of it, I just think they make fewer mistakes than their opponents.
When you talk about chemistry, I mean, infield playing together. You look out there tonight, with the exception of Donaldson, you have someone unfamiliar in every position.
Doesn't seem to slow anything down. Escobar off the end of the bat. And that is a 10-pitch inning for Gregerson. Bottom of the 8th coming up. A's 3, Rays nothing. Here's our game summary brought to you by your local Toyota dealers. 0-7-2 for the Rays, 3-9-0 for the A's. And Ray offense, well, it has been quiet, and give the A's pitching staff most of the credit for that. Jason Hamill pitched into the 6th inning. And a new pitcher for Tampa Bay. It's Cesar Ramos, the left-hander. He's the 4th pitcher of the night for the Rays. 2-3 with a 3.88 ERA. Reddick, big bouncer. Loney backs up, gets a good hop, and Reddick. And they're going to call catcher interference, I believe. Reddick is kind of jogging down to first, and now we realize why. So Reddick's going to be aboard. So that I'm going to believe that's what it was.
A lot of time the catcher gets a little too close to the hitter. A hitter like Reddick, who has a long swing, creates a lot of length. On the follow-through, sometimes they have a tendency to tip the glove because the catcher gets it in there a little too quickly.
So Reddick is aboard. And here's Cayaspo. And the umpire called it right away. And the reaction by the catcher, he kind of pulled his hand back. So pointing at the catcher, so that is the call. So 0-1. So it goes as an error on the catcher. So that is 3 errors tonight by the Rays. Bounced in the hole and under the glove of Escobar, and that's a base hit. Cayaspo has 2 hits. So the A's are at it again. 2 more runners aboard, nobody out.
Callaspo, who displayed a great compact swing from the left side, turns around against the left-hander and executes the same type of consistent swing that you see day in and day out of Callaspo. It's such a thrill to watch a hitter who has great hitting hands, and Callaspo is one of the best at his craft. When you look at that interference call on the catcher, it seems like these things just go on the streak. You remember a couple of weeks back, it seemed like every day a catcher was hitting in the back of the head by a backswing of a hitter.
Well, here is Sogard. Sogard shows bunt early. First pitch is outside. Sogard had a sacrifice bunt in the 5th inning, and then he walked in the 6th. Sogard back in there, see if he's bunting again. Longoria creeping in. He bunts it toward Longoria, who scoops it up. He'll throw to first in time. Nicely done by Eric Sogard. Second sacrifice for Sogard tonight. It worked in the 5th inning. It led to the A's getting a run. Hey, it's time to log on to CSNCalifornia.com to decide the player of the game. Your vote counts. The winner will be revealed during A's postgame live. Follow the action on the diamond like never before with condensed Bloomberg stats and more. A's in-game live on CSNCalifornia.com. Log on now and vote. So runners in scoring position for Coco Crisp, who's already knocked in a run with a base hit. That was in the 5th inning. Coco also walked, is struck out. He has hit a fly ball to the left. Curve, and he fouls it. So Coco back in the lineup tonight. Remember, he got a couple at bats last night after missing 7 consecutive games. DHing tonight. Maybe we'll see him in center field tomorrow. Line drive. Escobar flips to third, and they got him. Reddick tried to get back. He couldn't do it, and it's a double play, and the A's do not score. So 9th inning coming up. A's 3 outs away from a win. So the signal from Chip Hale, and the signal is, let's not do it. Let's get Doolittle in the game. And here he comes. on Comcast Sportsnet California is brought to you by North Lake Tahoe. Real summer, real close. So the A's 3 outs away from picking up their 69th win of the year. And they're going to do it with their closer, Sean Doolittle, who comes in. Doolittle, 13 pitches last night. And he's back to work tonight, 1-3 with a 2.54 ERA.
Your attention, please, for Tampa Bay. Number 10,
Logan Forsythe is going to pinch hit for Figueroa. So the Rays want to get a right-handed hitter in there. Doolittle's first pitch is a fastball down around the knees for a strike. Well, we can give you good news from Dodger Stadium. The Dodgers scored a run in the bottom of the ninth on a play at home plate. And the Dodgers win 5-4 over the Angels. A close play at the plate. The Angels catcher Chris Iannetta could not hold on to the baseball, and the winning run scored. So that series is tied at a game apiece. The next two games in that series will be played in Anaheim tomorrow night and Thursday. So good series so far. Two good teams, the Angels and the Dodgers. Dodgers win tonight. High fastball, no chance, and Forsythe strikes out for the first out. So with that Angels loss, the A's back up to a game and a half. If they can win this one, they'll have a 2-game lead. And this for the A's is game number 112, and that means after tonight, the A's will be 2/3 of the way through the season. So still a third of the season, with 54 more games left after tonight. High fastball.
Promises to be an exciting 54 games.
10 more games against the Angels. Sally takes up and away. So 2-0 to the young catcher. Sean Rodriguez is in the on-deck circle, another right-handed hitter. High pop-up. Callasco out, Sogard out. It'll be Sogard. He squeezes it.
Time now for a Honda player of the game. No doubt, Jason Hamill stepping up to the challenge. Coming up with a big-time game in a very tough situation. Making quality pitches. Jason Hamill stepping up, being that solid number 5 starter that the A's need him to do. What a welcoming sight to Bob Melvin and Kurt Young.
So here's Rodriguez pinch hitting for Kiermaier. First pitch, swing and a miss. Good pitch right on the outside corner. So Doolittle looking for a 17 save. If he gets it, he'll tie Ellen Emery for most saves by a lefty for the Oakland Athletics in a season. How about that? I think Doolittle have a few more. 0-2. Doolittle deals. Fastball is up. Fastball. Rodriguez does not chase, and the count is 2-2. Gregerson an inning tonight. Cook an inning. O'Flaherty got a big out. So the bullpen continues to be terrific. Big chopper, but it's going to be foul. Day baseball tomorrow as these two teams will wrap up this series. It'll be radio only. Sonny Gray and Jeremy Hellickson. First pitch scheduled for 12:35. Here at 95.7 again. Cayaspo charges, and that's the ball game. A shutout for the Athletics. And the A's have taken the first 2 games of this series. Hamill gets the win. Doolittle gets the save. Coco back in the lineup. That's good news. And the A's win it tonight over the Tampa Bay Rays. So the A's now have a 2-game lead over the Angels, who lost tonight to the Dodgers in the AL out West. Final score, the Athletics 3 and the Rays nothing. You've been watching A's baseball on Comcast Sportsnet California. Don't go away. A's postgame live with Henry Wilford and Vic Roberts starts right now.